Dr. Elias Ford had always believed that space was quiet. He had believed it until the night the alien woman appeared at the docking bay. For years, Elias had been stationed on the edge of explored space, far from human civilization, cataloging alien life forms that no one else had seen. Most of his days were spent in solitude, his only companions the soft hum of the research station and the blinking lights of his equipment. But nothing in his quiet, ordered life had prepared him for what came through the docking doors that night. The first thing Elias noticed was the presence, an aura that made him feel both small and alert. The alien woman walked with grace, her movements smooth, almost floating above the floor. Her skin shimmered silver blue under the lights, and her eyes glowed softly with an inner luminescence. She carried herself with confidence, yet there was something vulnerable in the tilt of her head. Elias froze, unsure if he should approach or retreat. "You are Doctor Elias Ford?" she asked, her voice clear and melodic but not unfamiliar. It carried a weight of authority that made Elias sit up straighter. Yes," he managed to say, his throat dry. "Who are you? How did you get past security?" His mind raced, trying to understand. His memory flashed back decades to a time when human expeditions had made contact with distant planets. He remembered the data he had gathered, the research logs he had kept, and the small acts of curiosity that had seemed insignificant at the time. But a daughter, an alien daughter. I don't understand," Elias said, stepping back slightly. "Your daughter, I haven't interacted with your people before." The idea that his past experiments, human experiments meant to study alien biology, had somehow led to the creation of a hybrid being was both thrilling and terrifying. He took a cautious step forward. "And where is she? I mean, if she's here, why haven't I seen her yet?" "But I warn you, human, she is precious, fragile in ways you may not yet understand. There are those who would take advantage of her. Your presence here may put her at risk." And yet curiosity overpowered caution. He nodded. "I understand, I will be careful." Finally, they reached a chamber bathed in soft light, where a figure stood waiting. Leora, she was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. Her features were human enough that he could recognize himself in her face, yet there were unmistakable alien traits. Her glowing markings that traced delicate patterns across her arms and neck, the faint shimmer of her skin, and the depth of intelligence in her eyes. She looked at him with a mixture of excitement and caution, her gaze both studying and trusting. You're human?" she asked, her voice soft yet filled with curiosity. "I've heard stories, I've read about your species, I wanted to meet you. I wanted to see you, to understand where I come from." Talira watched silently, her expression unreadable, but Elias could sense the pride in her. "She is learning," Talira said softly, "and she is strong. But there are dangers in the universe, human. Those who fear what she represents will come for her. You must understand this." "I promise. I think I understand humans better now." But the universe does not remain quiet for long. No sooner had Elias begun to relax than the station's alert system chimed, a harsh, insistent noise that cut through the air. Talira's eyes narrowed. "They have tracked us," she said. "We are not alone. There are those who would see her captured, studied, or destroyed. You must understand, human, the danger you are in." "Who is after her?" This was a child, a life that depended on him and Talira to stay safe. And despite the danger, he felt something he had not felt in years, a sense of purpose, a clarity he had thought lost. He glanced at Leora, whose eyes were wide but resolute. "We'll protect you," he said firmly. "I don't know how yet, but we will. You're not alone." I wanted to meet you. I wanted to see a human to know where part of me comes from. I'm glad you're here." "You are part of her life." Outside the chamber, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to a meeting that would change the course of lives, and perhaps even the galaxy itself. Elias felt a mixture of fear and excitement. He had spent his life studying alien worlds, but now he was part of one of the greatest mysteries of all, the creation of life that spanned human and alien. And in that quiet, tense moment, he realized that humans had something to offer the galaxy that no one could anticipate: courage, ingenuity, and a heart that could connect across species, across worlds, and across time itself. The sound of approaching ships echoed faintly through the station's hull. Talira's gaze hardened. "We must prepare," she said. "They will not wait long. And when they arrive, you must be ready, human." Leora reached out and held his hand again, her grip firm, her trust complete. "We're together," she said. "Yes," Elias replied, "together." The universe had grown infinitely larger, infinitely more dangerous, and infinitely more exciting. and Elias knew that he would never look at space the same way again. Elias had barely begun to process the reality of Leora's existence when Talira led him to a more secure section of the station. The corridors here were narrower, lined with softly glowing panels that pulsed with energy. The hum of the machinery was constant, almost soothing now, but Elias could feel the tension in the air. He realized that for all his experience with alien life, he was stepping into a world he could not fully understand. Leora walked beside him, her steps light and careful. She seemed unafraid, yet Elias could sense the curiosity in every gesture, every glance. Her eyes, large and luminescent, followed his movements like a student studying a teacher. For a moment, Elias almost forgot the danger outside, lost in the wonder of meeting a being who was part human, part alien, and entirely unique. "You're not afraid of me?" Elias asked quietly. Leora shook her head. "No, I've waited for this moment. I've imagined it many times. I wanted to meet a human, to see what part of me comes from you." He realized then that humans had something special, something universal that even alien species could recognize, the need to connect. Talira's voice cut softly through the corridor. "She must learn carefully. Others will see her as a threat, not as a child. You must understand that, human. You cannot make mistakes." "But I promise I'll do my best." Stars stretched endlessly, distant and indifferent, yet Elias could see her fascination with them. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "So much bigger than I imagined. I want to know how humans think, how humans feel. My mother tells me you are different, brave, curious, clever. That is clever enough for me. We must prepare." Talira moved to a panel and began manipulating it with graceful precision. The room responded instantly, energy shields forming over the windows and defensive mechanisms coming online. Elias watched in awe. She was powerful, but he realized that power alone would not be enough. That is where humans had an edge, he thought, the ability to improvise, to adapt, to see solutions no one else could imagine. "Elias," Talira said, "if we are to survive, you must act quickly. You will help me guide Leora. She must learn to control herself. Humans see things others cannot. They act when others hesitate. They connect when others ignore. Use that." She could manipulate energy subtly, sense intentions, and communicate telepathically, but she lacked control. Small bursts of light would flare from her markings when she became excited or frightened, and she sometimes lost focus, letting the energy spill. Elias demonstrated breathing exercises, mental focus, and problem-solving techniques, drawing from human experiences of meditation, concentration, and logical reasoning. At first, Leora struggled, and a small flare of energy shot across the room, setting off a warning tone. She looked startled, and Elias quickly moved to calm her. "It's okay," he said softly. "Mistakes happen. Humans learn from mistakes. You can too." He had spent decades cataloging alien species, analyzing data, and following protocols, but here he was truly needed. Here he could teach, guide, and connect, and the feeling was exhilarating. But the moment of peace was broken when Talira's voice became tense. "They are here. You must help me protect her. They will try to take her by force." Leora watched, absorbing everything, learning quickly. She mimicked his reasoning, combining it with her alien abilities, and Elias felt a spark of hope. "They're learning faster than I expected," Talira said quietly, almost to herself. "They're human too," Elias said. "That's the advantage. We adapt, we improvise. And we care enough to take risks others won't." "You did that?" he said, beaming at her. I think I did," she said, her voice filled with awe. "It felt right." But for the first time, he felt confident, not because of technology or force, but because of human resilience. He knew that humans could face challenges that no one else could anticipate. That night, after the ships had retreated temporarily, the three of them sat together in the chamber, exhausted but alive. Leora looked at Elias, her eyes bright despite fatigue. "Will we face them again?" He had spent his life searching for meaning in the stars, in alien biology, in distant worlds. Now he had found it, not in data or specimens, but in connection, in trust, in a child who was both human and alien. As the station settled into uneasy silence, Elias looked out at the stars. The universe was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. But for the first time, he felt ready to meet it head-on, not as a lone scientist, but as a protector, a mentor, and part of something extraordinary. Leora's small hand slipped into his again. "We're together," she said. "Yes," Elias replied. "Together, and no matter what comes, we'll face it as one." Inside the chamber, the human, the alien mother, and her extraordinary daughter prepared for the challenges ahead. The universe had grown larger, more dangerous, and more exciting than Elias had ever imagined. And he knew that the adventure had only just begun. The warning sirens blared through the station, echoing down the corridors like distant thunder. Elias' heart raced, but he forced himself to stay calm. He had been preparing for this moment, but knowing it was real made the danger feel immediate, pressing. Leora's small hand gripped his, her eyes wide but focused, as if she were drawing courage from his presence. "They've arrived," Talira said, her voice steady, though her posture was tense. She gestured toward the large viewing window, and Elias saw them, several sleek dark ships moving with deadly precision, cutting through the void of space toward the station. Their formation was deliberate, efficient, and unmistakably hostile. Elias swallowed. How many? Human ingenuity may be our only advantage. I'll try. But they could use the station itself as a tool, guiding the invaders into traps, confusing their sensors, and buying time. Elias' mind raced. He instructed Leora to use her abilities to create small pulses of energy at precise points, simulating decoys that would confuse the approaching ships. Her bioluminescent markings flared in response to concentration, a visual signal of her growing mastery. Talira provided technical guidance, but it was Elias' human improvisation that would turn the tide. "Move that energy pulse here," he said, pointing to a section of the station's external hull. "It will make them think we've left the docking bay undefended. Then when they approach..." But Elias anticipated this. He guided Leora to create another pulse, this time synchronized with the station's automated defenses. The combination was unexpected even for them, and it forced the invaders to split their formation. A smaller group moved away from the main approach, chasing phantom targets, while the main body slowed, recalculating. "They're adapting," Talira said, her eyes scanning the display. "But they do not understand her full potential yet." Elias watched in awe. She was a hybrid, yes, but she was learning quickly, absorbing human logic, strategy, and calm under pressure. In that moment, he realized why humans were so remarkable. We could adapt in ways no other species could, and we could inspire trust and courage in others, even across species boundaries. Hours passed in a blur of activity. Elias and Talira coordinated their defenses, while Leora executed bursts of controlled energy. Enemy ships struck at the shields, but their sensors remained confused, unable to predict the human-alien strategy. The combination of Elias' ingenuity, Talira's technical mastery, and Leora's emerging abilities created a synergy that the attackers could not anticipate. At one point, an enemy ship broke through the outer shields, closing in on the station's docking bay. Elias quickly analyzed its trajectory. "Leora, create a pulse at the rear vent, now." Elias let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Talira placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are more resourceful than I expected," she said quietly. "Humans, your species has courage, ingenuity, and the ability to think beyond fear. That is why Leora will survive. We need to think ahead." He could feel the thrill of human adaptability in action, the ability to improvise, to create solutions no one else could imagine, to survive against impossible odds. During a brief lull, Elias turned to Leora. "You're doing incredibly well. Keep your focus. Remember, calm and precision are your best tools. That's how humans survive, not by being the strongest, but by being clever, adaptable, and determined. You create a series of pulses in a pattern they won't recognize. I'll synchronize it with the station systems. It should confuse them completely." Then, with a coordinated effort, the station activated a series of light and energy signals, creating a false map of the station's layout. Enemy ships collided with each other, spun out of control, and several retreated into the void, clearly unsure how to continue. Elias felt a surge of pride, not only in his own strategy, but in Leora's growing skill. Talira observed silently, but there was a hint of awe in her expression. "I did not expect humans to combine logic and adaptability so effectively," she admitted. "Perhaps your species is underestimated in the galaxy for a reason." Yet here he was, showing that when trusted and given responsibility, humans could inspire courage, create solutions from nothing, and protect life in ways others could not. The battle slowed as the enemy retreated. Elias, Leora, and Talira allowed themselves a moment of relief, though they knew it was temporary. The galaxy was vast, and threats were never far away. But in that moment they had survived together. Elias knelt beside Leora. "You see what you can do when you focus and trust yourself?" he asked. She nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "Yes, and I see how humans think. Clever, careful, brave. I think I want to be like that." "You just need to believe it. Not just power or technology, but heart and mind together." But as the night stretched on, a new alert sounded, one that made Elias freeze. A new signal, faint but unmistakable, had appeared on the station's long-range sensors. He turned to Talira. "Something else, something big is coming. We must prepare for the next challenge." They had faced danger, they had adapted, and they had survived. And Elias knew, deep in his heart, that humans had something the galaxy had underestimated for too long. The courage to face the impossible, the ingenuity to turn the tide, and the ability to protect life, no matter the odds. For now, the threat had been held at bay, but Elias understood that the universe was watching, testing, and waiting. And he was ready to prove that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, through cleverness, courage, and an unwavering will to survive. The station trembled as another wave of enemy ships appeared on the long-range sensors. Elias' heart pounded, but his mind was already working, calculating, planning. He had faced dangers before, but nothing like this. Intelligent, determined, and relentless adversaries chasing a child whose very existence challenged the galaxy's rules. Talira moved with precision, adjusting shields and defensive systems, while Leora stood at the edge of the command console, her eyes glowing faintly as she focused on controlling her energy. She had grown more confident since the first attack, but the sheer number of ships approaching tested her control. "Elias," Talira said, her voice tight with urgency, "this group is not like the others. They are experienced hunters, skilled in tracking and combat. You will need to act quickly and think differently. Leora must not exhaust herself. We can confuse them. Shift the pulse slightly to the right," he instructed. "Now rotate it counterclockwise. Perfect. Keep it steady. Can you amplify your energy, just for a short moment?" The station shimmered in the illusion, appearing to split into several identical forms. The hunters fired at the false targets, wasting energy and ammunition, while the real station remained untouched. Talira's voice softened with admiration. "They are learning quickly. She is learning quickly. Humans are remarkable. Human strategy, alien technology, and her energy. Together, we are stronger than they expect. Then they mean to capture her. We cannot allow that. Elias, we must act decisively. You create 3 simultaneous pulses in sequence, but time to appear random. I'll guide the rest, trust me." One of the hunters, clearly the leader, broke formation and moved toward the station, calculating an attack trajectory. Elias' mind worked faster than ever. "Leora, hold your pulse steady. When I give the signal, release it at full force toward the approaching ship." The moment arrived, and Leora released a controlled blast that disabled the leader's ship without destroying it. It spun helplessly into the void, forcing the remaining hunters to retreat temporarily. Talira's eyes widened. "Remarkable. Humans, your species is truly exceptional. Your ingenuity, your ability to think under pressure, it is unlike anything we have seen." "Exactly. That's what humans do. We adapt, we learn, and we overcome." Yet here, on the edge of explored space, his species was making a difference through thought, creativity, and determination. The next hours were a blur of preparation, defense, and teaching. Elias guided Leora through the process of controlling her energy, combining it with the station's systems to create patterns that the enemy could not predict. They practiced diversion, misdirection, and precision. Talira provided technical support, but Elias' human insight was what made the difference. At one point, the station's communications panel picked up a signal, a message from the leader of the enemy faction. It was not a threat, but a challenge, a recognition of human ingenuity. Elias read it aloud. "Your species is clever, human. But this will not save you forever. We will return, and you cannot hide the child." He realized that humans were more than explorers or scientists. They were teachers, protectors, and innovators. In that moment, he knew that humans had a role in the galaxy far greater than anyone had imagined. Talira placed a hand on Elias' shoulder. "Your species embodies the traits that make life survive against impossible odds. You teach courage, patience, and adaptability. That is why Leora will survive, and that is why the galaxy cannot ignore humanity." As the night stretched on, they finally allowed themselves a moment of rest. The enemy ships had retreated for now, regrouping to plan their next attack. The station was quiet, though the hum of machinery reminded them that danger was never far away. Elias sat beside Leora, studying her glowing markings. "You've done more than I could have imagined. You're learning fast and you're brave. That combination is rare in any species. Human, you have shown her more than technique. You have shown her heart. That is what makes your species extraordinary." He realized that in Leora, that potential was magnified, and together they could face any challenge. Suddenly, the station's alert system beeped again, an anomaly detected on the far edge of their sensors. Elias rose, moving to the console. What now? Something ancient. Always. The universe was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable, but Elias knew one thing with certainty. Humans had a place in it, not as victims or observers, but as protectors, thinkers, and catalysts for change. And as the anomaly drew closer, he felt the thrill of adventure, the challenge of the unknown, and the certainty that human courage and ingenuity would shine brighter than any star in the galaxy. The anomaly approached with silent precision, a massive vessel unlike anything Elias had ever seen. Its surface was dark and smooth, reflecting starlight like liquid metal. It moved with intent as if it had awareness. Elias studied the readings on the console, his mind racing to understand the threat. This was no ordinary enemy. It was ancient, intelligent, and far more powerful than the previous hunters. Talira's voice was tense. "This is no standard attack. It is a guardian of sorts, a sentinel that responds to life it deems unusual. Leora, it knows of your existence. We will guide it, not confront it. Your energy pulses will mimic multiple signatures, creating illusions. We'll manipulate the station's systems to appear fragmented. The anomaly expects a direct approach. We will give it chaos instead. Now let's begin." The anomaly paused, recalculating, its massive presence looming closer yet failing to detect the real station. "They are responding," Elias said quietly, a thrill running through him. "Keep it steady, Leora. Focus on control." For the first time, Elias realized that humans had a quality no other species did: resilience under pressure, a combination of creativity and calm that allowed them to turn impossible situations into survival. The anomaly emitted a low, resonant pulse, scanning and testing every signature. One by one, Elias countered its calculations with human ingenuity, subtle energy shifts, clever diversions, and unpredictability. Leora mirrored his guidance, weaving her pulses into patterns that even the ancient vessel could not anticipate. Talira's voice softened. "It is unusual, it is learning, adapting, and it is not threatening her directly. It tests, yes, but it recognizes potential." Elias realized that this was the ultimate test, not of strength, but of intellect, courage, and unity. He adjusted the station's energy grids to amplify Leora's pulses, creating a synchronized rhythm that projected confidence and control. "Leora, focus on the sequence we practiced," he said. "Every pulse counts. Think of it like a dance. You lead, we follow." Suddenly, the anomaly released a series of probing pulses, directly targeting the station's outer hull. Elias acted quickly, guiding Leora to mirror the energy and redirect it harmlessly into space. The pulses met, created a dazzling display of light, and the station's shields held strong. "You're doing it," Elias exclaimed. "Keep going. We can outthink it. Human, your species teaches courage not through force, but through thought, creativity, and heart. That is why you survive, and that is why Leora will survive." "Now," Elias said, "we give it a final pulse. Combined, full control, precise timing, synchronized. Show it what humans can do." Then slowly it withdrew, moving away into the darkness, leaving them unharmed. Talira exhaled, a mixture of relief and admiration on her face. "It has accepted you. It recognizes your capability, your intelligence, your courage. Humans, your species is extraordinary. We work together." Talira studied Elias closely. "I underestimated humans. I see now that you are not only clever but brave and resilient. You inspire trust and courage in others. That is why your species matters in the galaxy." Yet here, at the edge of explored space, human ingenuity and heart had protected life, taught a new generation, and earned respect across species. Leora's small hand slipped into his again. "I've learned so much from you," she said. "Not just how to control my energy, but how to think, how to trust, how to be brave. Humans have potential, but when we guide and protect, we can inspire others, even across species." Humanity had always explored, always reached beyond their world, but now he understood their true potential. Humans were not just survivors, They were innovators, teachers, and protectors. They could face the unknown, adapt, and inspire trust and courage in others. The danger had passed for now, but Elias knew the universe would continue to test them. Yet he felt ready not just as a scientist, but as a human, creative, resilient, and courageous. Leora looked at him with wide, trusting eyes. "We'll face whatever comes next together." Courage, ingenuity, and compassion, these are the qualities that make you extraordinary. And now, you have shown them to the next generation as well. It was a demonstration of humanity's potential, the ability to inspire, protect, and adapt, even in the vast, dangerous, and unpredictable universe. As the stars shimmered outside the station, Elias felt a deep sense of hope. Humans had a role to play far beyond their world. They could face the impossible, protect life, and create connections across species and worlds. Leora represented that potential, the promise of a future where humans were not just observers but active, influential forces in the galaxy. Elias placed his hand on the console, watching the distant lights of stars. He felt a profound responsibility but also a thrill. The universe was vast, full of challenges and wonders, but humans had something unique: creativity, courage, and heart. And with these traits, they could shape the future, protect life, and inspire others across the stars. Leora squeezed his hand once more, her small glow fading gently as exhaustion took hold. "Thank you, human," she whispered, "for everything. Together, we're unstoppable." For the first time, he felt the true weight and potential of humanity in the galaxy. Humans were more than fragile, unpredictable beings. They were capable of brilliance, courage, and inspiration. And in that quiet, tense, and triumphant moment at the edge of explored space, Elias understood what it meant to be human. To face danger, adapt, protect, and inspire. To survive not through force, but through creativity, courage, and heart. To matter even in the vast, indifferent expanse of the universe. He squeezed Leora's hand gently, a silent promise between them. "We will face the future together. And humanity will shine across the stars in ways no one could have imagined." The universe was vast, but Elias knew that humanity, with courage, ingenuity, and heart, had a place among the stars. And for the first time in his life, he felt certain of one thing: humans were extraordinary.